Yep. Right, it's 3 years now since I bought myself a new pair of bike boots, and I'd encountered a bit of a problem with my Gianni Falcos that I reviewed about 3 years ago. If you remember, last year I injured the muscle on the sole of my foot, which meant basically I couldn't ride for about 6 months. This injury has all but healed now. It's much better. Just a little bit of a twinge every now and again, especially when I get up first thing in the morning. But one thing that I did discover is that wearing my old bike boots actually, exacerbated the problem. Even now, if I put them on and walk around for 5 or 10 minutes, I instantly start to feel some pain. So I've got an issue with those boots. So back end of last year, as I was sort of getting back on my feet, so to speak, I just resorted to wearing some ordinary Timberland boots, which, sorted the pain problem out. But the leather's not the thickest. I like something a little bit more substantial. It doesn't have to be a dedicated motorcycle boot. I know a lot of you guys swear by Doc Martens. I get comments about them all the time, but I just wanted something substantial, so I started having a look around. Now, I'll make it clear at this point, this is not a paid review. I paid for these boots full price with my own money, and they should not be considered motorcycle-specific safety boots. You see, I decided that what I wanted was some classic handmade in England boots, and such a product comes at a premium, so I needed something that I could wear day to day as well as wearing on the bike. I wanted a military style boot, something along the line of Despatch rider's boot from the early 20th century. And there were actually a few factors that came into play that led me to choose these LOAKE Sedbergh boots. LOAKE have been producing handmade footwear in the UK since 1888, founded by 3 brothers. And the current company is still owned by descendants of those brothers. Still a family-run business, which is a rare thing these days. Now, LOAKE have various product ranges, but the 1880 range is considered their highest specification, highest quality footwear. These particular boots being part of their 1880 country range. That is, these boots are intended for use in the countryside, muddy, rocky, craggy terrain where a strong, tough boot is required. These Sedberghs are named after the town of Sedbergh, which is located in Cumbria, a particularly wild and rugged landscape, a place that I know very well. Now, some sources that I've read suggest that LOAKE boots were a preferred choice of British officers during World War II, but where LOAKE really earned its reputation with the military was in World War I. And these Sedbergh boots take their design cues, if you like, from that famous military footwear of the era. And one of the deciding factors for me in choosing these boots is they have a very similar look to the military Despatch runners' boots of that era. Now, these boots are not cheap, but they're by no means the most expensive boots on the market. I think the pricing is very realistic for the quality that you're getting. But the icing on the cake for me was that LOAKE brothers still have a royal warrant, which I personally believe is one of the highest recommendations any company can have. So I have no hesitation whatsoever in saying that for a very reasonable price, you're literally buying boots that are fit for a king. These boots are formed using LOAKE's 26G last, the number 26 denoting LOAKE's country shape boot, and the letter G denoting that they're a slightly wider fitting at the toe. This makes for a very comfortable boot that would also accommodate a thicker sock, the kind of thing you might want to wear when you're riding a bike. And I personally have found this to be a liberating experience, especially as someone who's only worn sort of generic mass-produced boots his entire life. I realise now that the benefits of a specifically designed last shape should never be underestimated. Despite the new look of these boots, I've been giving them some very heavy wear for almost 2 months now, and they're the most comfortable boot I've ever worn. They nipped very slightly at the toe joints for about the first quarter of a mile, and then just as I thought perhaps these boots were going to be a problem, all of a sudden they just loosened up and felt fantastic. The uppers are made using a thick Scotch grain, or pebble grain as it's sometimes known, leather, with the grain fading out slightly as it extends over the toe cap. They have an exquisite full leather lining, but one of the most notable features of these boots, something you come across very rarely these days, is that the sole is attached using the Goodyear welt. This ensures that these boots can quite literally last for decades, because the Goodyear welt means that the sole can be replaced time and time again for as long as the upper is in one piece. This is a feature that separates mass-produced footwear from a classic handmade boot, because the Goodyear welt, rather than allowing the boots to be repaired, allows them to be rebuilt properly. And Loakes shoes actually offer a service where for just over £100, your worn out boots can be returned to them, be resoled, relined and returned to you almost as good as new. A facility which, alas, has been lost with modern footwear these days. Attached to the Goodyear welt is a thick leather midsole, which is then clad with an even thicker commando pattern rubber sole for optimum grip and wear. I just don't think it gets any better than that. Being a country boot, the Goodyear welt does feature a storm welt, which goes a long way to preventing water ingress where the sole meets the upper. But on saying that, these shouldn't be considered waterproof boots. I bought these for summer use. I'm sure that they'll withstand light showers on a motorcycle, but they shouldn't be considered, wet weather riding boots. I'll get another pair for wet weather. These boots feature 4 standard lace eyelets and then a further 3 ski boot style eyelets, which makes them incredibly easy to put on and take off. Now, I know some people don't like lace-up boots for wearing on a motorcycle. Personally, I've never encountered a problem. I've never got them trapped or caught on anything. I think people overthink things sometimes. The thing is, during the summer months, I like to use my motorcycle for everything. It's part of my lifestyle, but at the same time, I don't want to wear sort of motorcycle-oriented clothes. Yes, they need to be suitable for riding, but the kind of sort of average low-speed riding that I do, trips into town, trips visiting people, I like to look smart and presentable when I get there. I don't particularly want to look like a motorcyclist. These boots give me a reasonable degree of protection. The top of the boot comes well above the ankle without going too high, and the leather, in my opinion, is certainly thick enough to resist abrasion in the event of a spill. The most important factor for me is that when I get to my destination, I'm wearing a smart, presentable pair of boots. I think dressing up like a rocker in, this chosen pastime is okay. It has its place, but it's also a bit of a cliche. And there are times when I want to arrive at my destination looking like a reasonably smart, presentable human being, rather than a walking cliche from a 1960s B-movie. Now, just to deal with the problem of black marks from your gear changer on a bike. Generally speaking, that can mar any boot. Now, you can either wear that as a badge of honour, but if you want to keep your boots smart, so that your boots are in perfect condition when you arrive at your destination, TRIPMACHINE have the answer with their famous boot protectors. They have 2 variations, one that is designed to be used specifically with lace-up boots, but they also have this new Mark II version, which can be worn with laceless boots. I think these were actually the very first TRIPMACHINE product that I ever reviewed, going back 4 or 5 years ago, and I took quite a bit of flack for these. But do you know what? They are a cracking idea for protecting a pair of boots that you use for motorcycling, but you don't just use them for motorcycling. A good quality classic boot like this represents quite a reasonable investment, and it does make sense to protect them where you can. These boot protectors come in a range of 3 colours, so there's something there to suit everyone. And I have to say, they're not particularly expensive, but I have been in touch with TRIPMACHINE, and once again, Uncle Stu has managed to negotiate a 15% discount for you. I'll leave the discount code in the video description down below, along with a link to these boot protectors. The discount code will be for 15% on any TRIPMACHINE product, and it will be valid for 10 days from today. Now, I'd like to point out that I don't normally roll my jeans up like this. I just did it for the sake of this video so you could actually see the boots. I'm not trying to be hip or cool or anything. Fashion comes and goes, but true heritage and style never goes out of fashion. LOAKE have a very rich heritage going back to 1888. That's a long time. And the heritage of these boots goes back to sort of 1914, 1918 era. They're an iconic military boot design which will be just as relevant in 20 or 30 years. And what is intriguing, because of the quality and the way that these boots have been manufactured, there's a good chance that if you look after them, you will still have them in 20 or 30 years' time. And that's not a claim that you can make for 99% of the footwear that's on the market. I personally think they're a very worthwhile investment. I will of course leave a link to these Sedbergh boots on LOAKE's website for those of you that would like to take a look. Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this and my other videos, and in doing so helping to support this channel. I really do appreciate it. I would also appreciate it if you would leave a like and consider becoming a subscriber if you're not already a subscriber. And if you do, hit the notification bell and ensure that your notifications are enabled so that you're alerted whenever I upload a new video. Feel free to let me know in the comments section if you would like to see more boot reviews. It's not something I think I do enough of on this channel, and if the interest's there, I'll try my best to make it happen. Either way, I will of course be back on Friday, so until then, if you're riding, please ride safely, and I'll see you soon.